for a tourniquet to be TCCC approved, tactical combat casualty care. It has to be at least 1.5 inches wide, and go around.
It's not table now. I'm gonna sit up.
So it has to be at least 1.5 inches wide, and you have to be able to apply it with one hand. Okay? Watch how I put this on. Watch it.
Watch it.
Takes
You're
two.
using 2 hands.
How many hands am I using?
Cheating.
Yep, he's cheating.
I ain't cheating. That's what it takes to put it
How many
on.
times have you put that on?
I did it once in class, but I used 2 hands.
Have you ever put one of these on?
So
Yep. Fantastic.
here, let me see that. Versus this, right? This is a cat, and this is the best you can get for self-aid. And it's also really damn good for buddy aid as well to use on somebody else, right? But the way this works, it's a windlass tourniquet. It's got an inner band in it, right? This is the windlass. You put this on, you pull towards your center line, like so, high and tight. Wrap that end around, and you start turning. And it's one turn past bad words. You want to start saying bad words? You make this first.
I like that one.
That's where it is. Tail goes through here, like so. You take this time tab, put it across. See the vascularity in the back of my hand already? See how fast that is? And so this is what you want to carry for, if you need a tourniquet right now, that's what you want to carry. Now I carry one of these on my person. 2 reasons, right? First of all, they work great for kids. If I'm going to put it on a kid, God forbid I got to put it on a kid, but if I'm going to put it on a kid, it works great for a kid. Also, this with a little bit of gauze will make a really good pressure dressing because it's stretchy. It's an exercise band, right? And you can use it as a tourniquet on somebody else. It will work, but it won't work for you to use on yourself. If somebody's shooting at you, you got hit, motor vehicle accident, whatever. So you want a cap, okay?
What about, I think they're called the Israeli wraps, where you wrap it one time and you can kind of connect it and then wrap? Continue wrapping?
Kind of connect it while you're bleeding out.
So that's not a tourniquet. A tourniquet works by constricting the bleeding vessel against the bone structure in your arm, okay? That will apply pressure, which will slow the bleeding, but it won't pinch off the bleeding vessel. And so those pressure bandages, they're not tourniquets. They don't stop the flow of blood, they can help stem the flow of blood. But what you need if you have a critical bleed is you need to stop the blood right now, and that's why we use tourniquets. And this thing right here has been used over 19,000 times in combat in the last 20 years, so it's proven. That's why you want a cat. In fact, I'm just gonna give you one so that you have one. This one's yours, take that. And then, do you want a new SWAT-T, or you just want me to pull this one up?
If I could, let me give a suggestion on SWAT-T.
Yeah, absolutely.
I carry one because I got 2 little kids. You and I were talking about kids there. I keep mine in here, right on top, but it's half of that. So there's nothing wrong with this as far as kids go, especially mine. I got a 4-year-old daughter and a 2-year-old son. They travel with me. And I went and cut mine in half so I could actually fit it in here. It's something we do in class is we pull out this thigh size thing. It's much larger than my kids. And I'll take one of these and I'll be like, all right, let's show what it can do. We'll wrap it around because that won't fit on my daughter. I know it won't. And so I keep one of these in there in the off chance that I need one, and I put it in here on the top because that's the first thing I come to when I get this kid out. Same thing with the tourniquet. He's talking about we need that right now. Yeah, if I need one right now, we need it right now. We don't have time to be searching for it. That's why my brother, he called you out for a reason. Yeah,
I will shame him. I'm 100% going to shame
Okay,
you
normally
for it.
it's always on.
And that's awesome. That is awesome. But this thing right here, we can fit almost anywhere. You can absolutely fit it in the backpack, but that is so much faster. We routinely, when we're teaching in classes, we find out real fast that people think that they have the thing and they don't, or they've never pulled it out. And that's why we don't just love these, because they never leave the darn package. That's the problem.
So did you cut it this way?
It's 5 foot long, so we want to keep the width because, like my brother was saying, the width is needed to help stop that bleeding. But it's 5 feet in length. So what I did was I measured it out to 2.5 feet, and you could estimate somewhere. It'd be right about here. I cut it there, and I re-rolled it like a cigar. And you don't have to rubber band it like I do, but the whole goal was the same. My daughter and my son are small enough that they don't need this. I know because I've wrapped this thing around so many different people that I know that. So for the 2.5 foot, I retain space savings in that kit we were just talking about, and I know it'll still work on my kids.
And will it still work on an adult?
It can, but it's not as dependable, honestly. But again, that's why I carry one of these.
So many times.
That's right. And if you're talking about doing weapons training with folks like you're telling me, if I'm ever going to the range, like if my goal here was I'm going to be a shooter at this competition, we carry 4 of these things because I got 4 limbs, or that one leg might need 2.
Or Americans, kind of fat.
Bigger.
Kind of fat. Sometimes you may have to use this in conjunction.
That's right. And you were talking about like an Israeli wrap, an Israeli bandage. Here's a version of one, something similar. It's essentially an ace bandage with a gauze band.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And you can even see the hooks on there if I get it right. Yep, right here. You got teeth that'll bite in. Another similar option. This one's made. This is almost this exact thing, but with this size. This is made by TACMED. Actually, just took this from them down in Orlando. But the package size, man, when we're talking about carrying small quantities of stuff that we can still use, it's still a little bit shorter, kind of achieving that same thing I was just talking about, of being that shorter length because it's a kid's food.
But this one's a little longer than half. You can use this one for an adult too.
That's right, yeah. In fact, put it on. And it's got to be tight, come high and tight, so we need to get a little less. Start it right about here. It's going to, it's all right. And we need to use the friction of the band against itself. So come on and wrap around. Now once you get that first wrap right here and it's using friction, now you pull tight. I'm talking tight. Real hard, real hard.
It's gonna pop.
Hurt them. Real hard, real hard. If it doesn't hurt,
Even if it doesn't lay flat. Like,
yep, we need it to just get those layers on for now, and that's why we don't recommend these for adults, because it's not going to lay flat. And then find a spot and tuck it. Yep, you got it.
That means I did a good job at pulling
You're
it
doing
tight.
good.
Where?
And you've got 2 hands, and it still took that. Now to see if it's working, we'll come right here in line with my thumb, take your pointer and your middle finger, press down, let's see if we have a pulse. If we do, we'll know it's not working. Do you find one or no?
No.
If you don't have a pulse, then you got it. But see how much effort that took, right? Comparing to that cat tourniquet, that's so much more effort. And it's likely to come loose if you leave it.
Yeah.
Or just
because
by moving like I just did.
I couldn't find a spot really
That's right.
to wrap it into.
That's right. So all of that to say, it has a place, but for the love of God, these are all kids. For us, we can carry that.
So a tourniquet and that.
Yes, ma'am. Now that, if you were to put it on me, stage this thing right here, we need to give us all the advantages we can get. It's like my brother showed, we give ourselves a pull handle so it doesn't adhere. If you'll tab this time tab, this is like your lock at a 45-degree angle. When you throw that on, you're using it to the part that makes sense. You'll pull into your body instead of trying to pull out. That works well. So you bring it in, you go high and tight the first time, you pull it tight, bring it up, come around to here. And you're gonna twist in the direction that makes sense using torque with your thumb, and tighter than you think it should be every time. If it is not hurting, it's not working. And now, same deal, see if I have a pulse. Because if I do, it ain't working. And if we get to the point where I have a pulse, we gotta go tighter.
I don't think so. I don't think I feel it.
All right. Now it's your turn. Every time we use it, stretch everything back out because it purposely kinks up the material. So I mean to hold you up this long. Now, if you do what I gotta do, I'll leave a slick side like this so I can put it in my pocket. It's not snagging. You gotta throw it like a hand. Grab that and throw it like you mean it. There you go. Now, we need to make sure it's going the direction that makes sense. Twist it around so you're pulling into your body.
So
pulling this on.
This way. This
Come
way.
high and tight. So above your bicep, but not on your shoulder. Anything that moves, it won't work. Pull it tight. Right about here. Tighter, tighter, tighter. Good. Bring it around. Right here. And leave it there for a second. Ever, for the love of God, need this in real life. Tighter than you think it should be. It has to hurt. It doesn't.
I know. I always pinch
One more, one more, one more.
I always end up with like big old red bruises.
You got it, you got it. That tourniquet bite's part of the game.
I gotta go.
Get it, get it. Tighter, tighter, tighter. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Excellent. Now, bring your tail across. That's helping pin the windlass in place. And purposely come over top like this. Sucks, right? Now, time tab right here.
That's right. You got it.
I'm like, yes, that's a time tag.
Good, it's working. Now, if we were to leave that on, the downside, people like us that like to help people, if that was on and you got to drag your son, eventually this arm won't work. So that's a takeaway.
You gonna get me out of this, or do I get out?
I thought it looked great on you.
I'm
Like a new piece, a new accessory for you.
Dazzle it.
There you go. Now,
It's beautiful.
thank you for letting me do what I enjoy doing. Showing people what this stuff
I couldn't even put it all the way down. I'm like, all right, just over here.
So it hurts way worse on your leg.
But that's a reason I'll let you figure out on your own.
And then you gotta deal with the people kicking their legs up while you're. And then when I took the Stop Bleed class, I had to learn, don't put your knee on the person because you don't know what's wrong with them. I was like, oh, I thought that's how you keep them still.
So I'm 100% gonna put my knee on the person
Heck
if
yes.
they're bleeding out. So we use the March algorithm. So massive hemorrhage is the M. That's where we start. Massive bleeding, you're gonna die. The video that we open class with is a guy getting shot in the leg. He is 100% dead in like what 52 seconds.
We measured 48, but it's trimmed a couple times. You can guarantee less than 2 minutes.
He in 25-30 seconds, he's 100% incapable of helping himself at that point. So yeah, maybe they have some other stuff broken. I'm gonna fix that bleeding first because it's gonna be irrelevant. So if they're flopping around,
I'm
they
like
very
you.
well may be.
Yeah,
You're getting the knee on.
Yeah.
Getting the old cop knee and the.
No cotton.
Well, now, you've been in classes, I've been doing that, man. I get a voluntold individual every class, and they tend to be good sports about it. But I'm like, here, you are injured anyway, get on the ground for me. We're gonna
I've
do
been the
that.
guy.
Yeah, because I did it in the class, and they were like, what if you're putting it on something else? I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if they die.
Very true. Yeah. Priorities. If I break your rib, but you live.
That's right. That's right. You bleed out, you're not going to live to care about it, are you?
Well over 90% of all preventable deaths are going to be from blood. Everything else.
Open ups, guys.
I've
See you
bought
later.
some of their